The last time we talked about the Orlando Magic was 2 videos ago, and they were on a 6-game winning streak. They have continued playing at a high level as their winning streak has climbed all the way up to 8. They are still sitting at second place in the Eastern Conference behind the Boston Celtics with a record of 13-5. And the more and more I watch the Orlando Magic, the more and more I realize that this team is actually a problem. Now, why I think the Orlando Magic is a problem, because nobody on this young team, the best players on this young team, is nowhere as good as they're going to be in their NBA careers. And right now we're seeing them play some dominating basketball. So they found a way to be able to win and be competitive in games while their players are developing. And the way that they've been able to do that is on the defensive side of the ball. Right now, the Orlando Magic, them and the Minnesota Timberwolves continue to go back and forth for that number 1 spot in defensive rating. As of right now, I just checked before this video started, the Orlando Magic are at number 2 right now, but nonetheless they are a top 2 defense in this league, and it's really leading them, is really allowing them to beat some really good teams in the league. They've beaten the Denver Nuggets so far this year. They've beaten the Boston Celtics and many other high quality basketball teams. So I think we have to give huge props to Coach Mosley and his coaching staff, because he has the Orlando Magic in a perfect situation right now. Your young players are developing at a high rate, and they're also winning ball games. And some of the players that I see that are just getting so much better as this season is going on and on is Jalen Suggs. He has been spectacular for the Orlando Magic this season. And we talked about how important the depth is for this Orlando Magic team is in our last video on the Magic. And we talked about how the best players on this team are very young NBA players. So it's very natural, very normal for them to struggle on some nights. And we saw that last night with Paolo Banchero, as he only finished with 6 points, but his team was able to rally, uplift him while he was struggling with his shot, and get the victory against the Washington Wizards. Now with Jalen Suggs, we got to be happy to see him healthy and out on the court consistently. We know his first 2 years in the league has been a little rough for him as far as staying out on the court, but nonetheless he has been great for the Orlando Magic, and he has really embraced his role for this team. And his role is to be that point of attack defender. If it's a 1 or a 2 guard and they're the best perimeter scorer or the best perimeter playmaker on that team, Jalen Suggs is going to guard that guy, and he's going to make them work so hard, bringing the ball up, scoring the basketball, getting the team into sets. Jalen Suggs has become a real pest in the NBA. He's getting on ball steals, he's getting off ball steals, he's blocking shots, he's hustling hard every play, and most importantly, all we hear about from his teammates and from the coaches of the Orlando Magic, that all of his tenacious energy on the defensive side of the ball is really spreading to his teammates. And that makes sense, because the Orlando Magic, like we established, they're going back and forth with the Minnesota Timberwolves for the best defense in all of the NBA right now. So you gotta love that Jalen Suggs has really embraced that role of being a dog on the defensive side of the ball. And not only that, but his offense is starting to come along as well. And in his last 11 games, Jalen Suggs has been able to score 10 or more points, so 11 straight games in double digits. And in his last game against the Washington Wizards, he posted his season high, getting 22 points. So this is what I'm saying, as these guys are just gradually getting but gradually getting better and more comfortable is what I was trying to say. And also, so far in the season, his numbers are not looking too bad at all. 13 points per game, 3 assists a night, 4 rebounds, 45% from the field, 37% from the three-point line. I think this is great production to get out of Jalen Suggs on the offensive side of the ball, given what he's providing for you defensively. So I think Jalen Suggs, he has been a great sign for the Orlando Magic this season, given that his first 2 years in the NBA, we couldn't really see too much from him because he couldn't get that consistency of playing every night due to his injuries. But seeing him so far this year, he has been nothing short of spectacular. And another player on this team that is going to cause the Orlando Magic to be a huge problem for the rest of the NBA is Franz Wagner. And before this NBA season started, I made a little list about NBA players that could have a breakout season this year, and I put Franz Wagner on this list because if you watch him play, he passed the eye test with the flying colors, and since he's coming to the NBA, his numbers are just getting better and better. So pretty soon I could see Franz Wagner evolving even more for the Orlando Magic. But the last time we talked about him in our last video, we talked about how his season and his efficiency hasn't gotten off to the best start. And we said we knew that was going to come up. Some of the stuff that he's missing is definitely going to start to fall. And in just 2 games, he was able to take his field goal percentage from 43% to 46%. So it's looking like he's just starting to heat up. Last 2 games against the Charlotte Hornets and the Washington Wizards, he put up 30 plus in both those games, and he was highly efficient. I think between those 2 games, he only missed like 3 or 4 shots in those 2 games apiece. So he was highly efficient in those games. You just gotta love watching Franz Wagner play, and I love the way that he fits with the rest of the Orlando Magic because he doesn't need the ball in his hands 99% of the time because he can cut. He's a great cutter and he's a great finisher around the rim. I think he's one of the more underrated finishers around the rim. His footwork is elite. He can finish with both hands. He can attack a rim protector, and he can also finish with finesse. And then you gotta take in the accountability of all of that size and how skilled he is. He is 6'10", and I know it doesn't look like he's 6'10" because he doesn't play like a 6'10" player because he has so many guard skills. He can put the ball on the floor. He can get to the mid-range area. He can knock down mid-range and 3-point shots. So Franz Wagner, the way that he's been playing over the last few years since he's come into the league for the Orlando Magic, we're just seeing him get better and better and better, and I think that's going to continue to happen this season for the Orlando Magic. And last but most certainly not least, this team is having so much fun with each other. The chemistry is there, the brotherhood is there, the camaraderie is there, and also they believe in their head coach. These players think so highly of Coach Mosley and vice versa. He is always speaking highly of his young basketball team, and we see them having fun out on the basketball court. We saw Jalen Suggs, he threw that lob to Cole Anthony, and they recreated one of the most famous pictures in basketball sports history. So they're having fun out on the court. And then also, I know I said this earlier in the video, but I really love how the Orlando Magic, how they talk about Jalen Suggs and praises his defense and say that it's so contagious for the rest of the team. I think things like that is so cool and so important. But the Orlando Magic, they have been so fun to watch this year, and there's so many more things to take into account with this team. They've had two of their key rotational players dealing with injury. Wendell Carter, who's a walking double-double on any given night. They haven't had that for their 8-game winning streak, and they've also been out. They also been without Markelle Fultz for a huge part of this season. In this video, I was able to give you so much positive feedback and breakdown without even bringing up Paolo Banchero, the #1 overall pick from the 2022 NBA draft, who is also having a very solid season this year for the Orlando Magic. So that's how good the Magic has been so far this season. And like I said in the last video, I saw the Orlando Magic being so much better than what they were last year, but at the top of the Eastern Conference, it has been so crazy. It has been crazy so far this year, but nonetheless, they deserve it. They're playing hard, and my favorite thing about them is that they're getting after it on the defensive side of the ball, because I think that's how you set the tone in any basketball game that you want to win. But that's going to be it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed, please leave a like, comment down below if you agree or disagree, and then subscribe for more weekly content. We do this all the time, man, and that's curtains.